Hey everybody, Mike Donahue and your friend.
Brian May.
We are here. I got my Boston gear on. I got the Celtics. I got the Bruins. Bruins aren't doing so good right now, but Celtics are doing great. So
Still got to have
yeah,
the love, man.
yeah. No, I'm staying. I'm staying as a fan, man. I'm not one of those fair weather guys.
That's right.
I stay in the mix, baby. I stay
That's
in
right.
there.
That's a funny thing around here in Omaha. It's like if the Cubs or the Vikings or the Rockies or any of those people are doing well, it's all of a sudden the fans come out of the woodwork. But the Boston faithful are the Boston faithful, come hell or high water, right?
Oh yeah, man. I followed the Patriots when Steve Grogan was the
Yeah,
the quarterback. Like
yeah,
before Brady, before
yeah.
Bledsoe, before any of those
Yeah.
guys.
My,
So
yeah, my,
I've got
my,
my merit badge.
yeah, my kids grew up in the heyday. I mean, and
I know.
their
Mine
friends,
did too.
their
Spoiled
friends accused
brats.
them. Yeah, their friends accused them of being bandwagoners, and they said, "No, our dad made us do this."
Yeah, yeah. No, I tortured my kids. I
Yeah,
made them I give them quizzes on, players and stuff. So no, Keegan's actually my son is actually more he's more of a fan than I am in some of the sports. Like he knows all the stats and stuff. I just kind of keep an eye on him. And Bruins, I'm pretty hype on the Bruins. But
yeah,
um, well, hey, last week we had Eileen Fires on, and she talked about trauma, and we had a really good podcast. I felt it went well. It was a little long, but it was good.
yeah.
And so the thing that we kind of wanted to discuss this week on that was one of the things that Eileen brought up, and she actually even said I might get in trouble for this, which Brian and I both were like, "No, you're good." Um, was the idea of not just seeing a Christian counselor, and I think the reason, Brian, why she was hesitant to even say that is because they put so much guilt and shame on you if you go to a secular counselor, like like they're gonna tell
Right.
you to worship the devil and say mantras and stuff, right? Like it's so stupid. But
Or maybe they'll
so
use psychology.
ooh yeah, talk about the brain that God created.
Yeah,
So yeah, so basically it was interesting that she said that, and it kind of struck a chord with me because I feel like that kind of clarifies some things for me as far as my role. Like I'm not a Christian speaker. When I go into a school, I'm not a Christian speaker. I don't bring a Christian message with me, but I'm a Christian, I'm a speaker who's a Christian. And I think there's a difference, right? Because I
yeah,
understand what what the need of the school is. I understand the law. I understand more of, I guess you would say, a worldly perspective, not worldly in an evil sense, but a worldly in a more rounded, more grounded, more balanced approach to things. What are your thoughts on that, Brian?
yeah. Well, here's the way I look at it. Well, I'm going to say two things. One is when we came up in that whole environment, there really was sort of a anti-science, anti-intellectual bent, as though if you were looking to those aspects of society for answers, then your faith was lacking, and maybe you were looking in the wrong place, and maybe you needed to trust God, which is just pure and utter horse crap. I was going to say bullshit, but I thought I'd mix it up. Um, the
Thank
second,
you.
yeah, the
I have
second thing.
sensitive ears, brother. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
by the way, apologies for the AI. I really sounded like a pinhead on that podcast, but anyway, I normally sound like a pinhead anyway. So, but the second the second thing I'd say there is I think about it this way. If let's say um, you had to get open heart surgery, hope nobody does, but let's say you have to. The first thing on your list of criteria isn't going to be, does the doctor have a fish on his bumper and does he attend a church of my approval? You know, I mean, you're not going to care if the guy's the best heart surgeon you can find. You're not going to care if he's sacrificing goats in his backyard, right? Because you're dealing with a serious aspect of the human body, and when you're talking about dealing with trauma, you're dealing with a serious aspect of the human psyche, and you want someone whose mind is going to be clear and not clouded with some of the superstition that a Christian can bring to the table.
Right. Right. No, I love that analogy because that's exactly right. You wouldn't trust, your heart with the plumber, right? Or
Right.
like you said, or the Christian, because he has a fish in the back of his car. I hate those things. I just want to take them off so bad. Like, you know.
Uh,
Anyways, or Jesus is my pilot, right?
right.
Whatever. I'm the co-pilot. No, take the wheel, dude, because he's not grabbing the wheel today.
Or that
Uh,
picture I sent you. We'll have to find that and show it on the podcast. That picture I sent you that's something about, God is my protector, and it was a bumper sticker on someone who got rear-ended, right?
yeah, I remember that. That's so funny. No, I think that us and them mentality that we
Yeah.
we grew up with, it's like if you know, I always like would question, they would say no secular music, but you can watch movies if they're PG-13. Well, there was a lot of movies that had the soundtracks were secular music. So
Right.
what are you talking about? Like it was so weird, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that what she said. I like that. I felt bad for her that she had, you know, gone through that stuff with Jeannie. When I left Rockford in '94, she was still there and had, was there for 2, 3, 4 more years, and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I wasn't privy to what was happening with Eileen and her husband, and so that was a little bit shocking for me to hear. Not, I mean, I wasn't surprised because I know how Jeannie
Right.
operates. When she's done, she's done. So all the love and the I love you, I love you, I love you stuff is gone, and so it doesn't surprise me. It just hurts me for her and hurts me that she had to go through that. And I just remember the shock myself of going, oh wait, that was all bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, I really believe that. And then you have to walk through all the guilt. Like, why did I believe that? Why did I believe? What's wrong with me that I believed that?
Right.
And all that, and then the anger and frustration and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Same experience. I mean, I had to go through a lot of things like, hey, number one, why did I believe that? Number two, why was I so stupid to think that if I just fought hard enough, I could change it, right? Why didn't I walk away a long time ago? But
Yeah,
yeah, it's sad. And, I mean, folks can call me a cupcake or weak or whatever, but I don't care who you are. I don't care how strong you are, how macho you are, how self-confident you are. When you place your trust in someone because you think they're one thing and they betray that trust, that leaves a mark, right?
yeah,
That leaves a mark. That leaves trauma, and especially these people. All the people we've talked about, all the church leaders that we've talked about, we've had personal experiences. In some element, they're all that way. They
right.
really do a poor job of treating people with, the dignity and the value that they're worth. And in some ways, I told you on the phone the other day. In some ways, that's the worst kind of person in the world, is someone who treats someone well to extract value from them, and when they can't extract value from them anymore, then just sort of leaves them by the side of the road.
Yeah, and that's betrayal. And
It is.
betrayal is a very severe, what am I trying to say? A very harsh psychological,
Yeah.
event in your life. And betrayal. I've said this before, but growing up, I never felt the level of betrayal that I did with the church stuff, because I never gave my heart to my family, just because of the dynamic and my dad leaving and my mom was not really, equipped to be a parent and all that mess. So I never really had that bond. So my first bond with somebody that that I gave myself to was Jeannie and Rick. And then when that all came apart, and I realized it was just a sales pitch. Wow, it was like, wow, it was betrayal. So when she was talking about it last week, I had to fight back, wanting to jump in and, regurgitate my story, and that's not about that. But basically, yeah, I mean, I felt bad for her,
Mm-hmm.
because no, and I didn't know about her dynamic with her you know, completely with her family, that it was that vacuum. There it is.
Right.
Jeannie's the greatest at sucking in, like figuring out that you have a vacuum, and then she fills it.
Right.
And then when she gets what she gets, she's done.
Yeah.
And that's just sad.
Yeah.
And it's sad that people still don't believe that. How many freaking stories do you freaking need to hear?
Yeah.
I mean, how many are you that stupid? Like,
Right.
how? Come on, if somebody's a god. Come on, Rick. Come on, Gary. Come on, Rod. Like, give me how many stories do you need to hear before you
Right.
understand that this was all a gimmick? That
Right.
she's a gamer. That she's a gamer. What the flip, dude?
Yeah. And, you know, I'll use her saying, you know, spirits reproduce spirits. I mean, it's like everyone who came up underneath her. I mean, take a good hard look at yourself, check yourself, and, you know, ask yourself, if you can, be honest with yourself. Say,
Too expensive. It's too expensive, Brian.
Did I treat people like that? No, I agree with you, but yeah, I agree. And, you know, it breaks your heart for yourself, and it breaks your heart for other people when you really have a passion. And I know Eileen had a passion to do what she did, and it really doesn't, you know, matter how pure or impure it was. Like you said on you know, the podcast, I believe it was pure. But when you really give yourself something wholeheartedly, and you believe you're doing something that is good and honorable, and you're making a sacrifice to do it, and then they just turn the dime on you like that, yeah, that's tough. So
it is.
And people have a right to say, you know what, I need to work through that, because that's real.
Yep. Well, all right. So next week, coming up this Sunday, we're going to do podcasts. And one of my favorite things to talk about is Christianese and bubble. I call it bubble talk. You know, the Christians live in that bubble.
Talk.
And I got a couple of stories I can't wait to unpack. But
I'm
thank you so much.
I'm gonna bring some I'm gonna bring some sharp objects, so maybe we can pop some of those bubbles. How's that?
Good. Good. They're going to. All right, man. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Groomed at 10. Groomed in 10. Sorry, Groomed in 10. I should get my language down here, but Groomed in 10. And so we'll see you guys next Sunday night, 5 o'clock.
See y'all.
Stay warm.
Bye.
Bye.